Welcome back to Atlanta Tech Edge. I'm Angel Maldonado. So this is the time where we get to say something catchy or informational as we introduce you to our upcoming guest. But Stephen Fleming is here. We're going to make an exception. We're actually going to let him introduce himself using his Twitter description. Take it away, Stephen.
I'm Stephen Fleming. I'm an obsolete engineer and recovering venture capitalist. I'm exploring academia, technology commercialization, and economic development for Georgia. Oh, and rockets.
Wait, rockets?
Rockets.
All right, we can start right there.
Rockets are awesome.
Let's talk rockets. So tell me how you're involved with rockets.
I've been invested in a rocket ship startup for almost 15 years now. It's out on the West Coast. We're moving the company to Texas. It's called X-Core Aerospace. We got the X first, but SpaceX has a lot more money, so people get us confused with SpaceX. We're building a small two-seater rocket-powered vehicle that we hope to have flying, if everything lines up right, we'll be flying later this year.
Now, here's a question. You get it built, will you be in it?
I have 2 tickets.
You got to be in it, right?
Absolutely. Actually, the cockpit is fitted around me in a helmet. I'm the tallest person associated with the vehicle. So.
Well, that's the perk of investing in a rocket company. Exactly. All right, well, so that's some of your career there that I didn't even know about. But you talk about having 3 different careers. Talk about what led you here to Georgia Tech.
It's really back to Georgia Tech. I went to Georgia Tech as a student, started back in the 70s. Was trained as a scientist, engineer. I spent 10 years in the telecommunications business as an engineer. Did a couple of startups. Decided I liked startups more than I liked working for a big corporation. So after about 10 years, I left and helped put together a venture capital firm here in Atlanta, and ran that for about a decade. Did a bunch of deals. Had a lot of fun. After about 10 years, it was time for a change. I had done a number of deals out of Georgia Tech, and so I'd had some issues with, at that time, how hard it was to do startups out of Georgia Tech, and they recruited me to come fix that. I thought that would take about 2 years, and that was 10 years ago, and I'm still here.
What's this 10-year thing?
My clock ticks every 10 years. I guess come April, I got to go become a scuba instructor or something.
Well, you got to let us know what you're going to do for the next 10 years. So. Well, you talk about staying for an extra 8 years, and how Georgia Tech is just addictive.
It is
for you.
Absolutely.
What are some of the most interesting things that you're working on, and why is this so?
Well, the addiction is because you're hanging out on one of the best research universities on the planet. That happens to be in the zip code I was born in, so that's kind of neat. But you've got these incredibly bright people working on projects that I say it's from aerospace to zebrafish. You've got everything in between. And they're some of the best people in the world. And we, in our role, get to say with a straight face that we're from the government, we're here to help you. And so we get to help. That's a lot of fun.
And you're working specifically, I know one of the most interesting things is working with these founders at ATDC. Right. Tell us about ATDC. Talk about the Startup Showcase as well. Well,
ATDC is the oldest and largest university-based incubator in the country. Our 35th birthday is coming up in April 2nd. We're having our showcase at the Georgia Tech Hotel, where we have it every year. It's awesome. It's probably, I think last year we had 700 people show up. We'll have, I don't know the exact, it'll be 30 or 40 companies exhibiting. We have our graduates who finish our ATDC incubation program. This will be our largest graduation class in history. We're going to have, thank you, in 35 years. I think we're going to have either 12 or 13 companies graduating, which means they're kind of moving on, baby bird leaving the nest. And then of course there's others lined up to come in right behind them. But the incubation program covers a wide range of technologies. It covers a wide range of types of entrepreneurs. Most of them actually are not out of Georgia Tech. ATDC is actually a state-funded program. It's not funded by Georgia Tech. It's located at Georgia Tech. But we'll help any technology entrepreneur in Georgia launch and build great technology companies.
And usually when people think about people who are getting into startups and founders, they think about the 20-some-year-old coming out of college.
Mark Zuckerberg, dropout, yeah. I've been pushing a concept for Atlanta for a couple years now that I call it, we do startups for grown-ups. If you're 23 years old, the idea of living floor to an apartment and eating cold pizza and writing code 20 hours a day, that's kind of cool. If you're 33 or 43, that's not so cool anymore. You want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to have a golden retriever, and you don't want to do that in the same sort of style that a 23-year-old does. And it turns out that those people, in many cases, actually make the most solid entrepreneurs. They don't always make the magazine covers. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg makes the magazine covers because he dropped out of Harvard. But if you're looking for somebody who understands business, understands customers, understands meeting real needs, a lot of times they have a decade or two of real business experience behind them. And so the average age of our entrepreneurs, the CEOs in ATDC, is about 40. It's not 23.
Well, you got the wisdom that comes along with just life experiences,
Yeah.
and things you
life
learn
experience
along
and things you learn along the way. And as I say, you know, the young kid will sometimes knock down a brick wall, and the older guy knows where the doorknob is.
That's right. So let's talk about Tech Square.
Yep.
You're involved with economic development at
Right.
Georgia Tech.
Right.
Talk about its growth and some of the things that have been happening just recently in the last few months.
Yeah, the last few months, I feel like you're like the classic band that hits it big, and they're a 12-year overnight success. I mean, this is a 12-year strategy that we've been implementing, and the world's finally noticing that it works. So Technology Square is the part of Georgia Tech on the east side of the downtown connector. We moved over there. We started building 12 years ago. We spent about $140 million on investment in terms of real estate and facilities. And that public sector investment of $100-odd million 12 years ago has generated literally billions of dollars of private sector value.
Wow.
Because we, Georgia Tech, are not going to go someplace and pull out. If we've put a footprint there, we're going to be there for a long, long time. And that's given the private sector the confidence to go into a part of Atlanta. Midtown Atlanta 15 years ago was pretty sketchy if you lived here. I was born here. And now people want to be in Tech Square.
Well,
they want to be right next to
NCR is a perfect example.
is moving, you know, next door to our building, moving their world headquarters. I've seen 3,600 jobs, 4,000 jobs. I've seen different numbers, but that's an enormous vote. That what they want is, you know, not just you know, all the amenities of a Class A office building. I'm sure they're going to build a spectacular facility, but they want access to the brain power at Georgia Tech. They want access to the students. They want access to the research. They want access to the startups. They want access to everything that's happening around Tech Square. And they decided that that's so important to them, they want to put headquarters right in the middle of it.
Well, I hear there's other large companies that want to get square footage in Tech Square.
We talk to a lot of companies.
So can you tell us more? Give us a secret. Give us a little bit of a...
Not a word.
Well, I tried.
Good try.
At least I tried.
Good try.
But Home Depot did.
Home Depot just opened their new technology center. It's a corporate innovation center. This is something that's happening a lot now, is not necessarily a headquarters like an NCR, but companies saying, you know, we want a foot in the ground on campus. We want to have direct access to Georgia Tech students. We want direct access to the startups in ATDC. And let's take 1,000, 2,000, I think in the case of Home Depot, 6,000 square feet, put some of our employees there, bring in co-op students, have just activity in Tech Square. So the latest is Home Depot. We obviously have the AT&T Foundry, which is a big success last year. We have Panasonic Automotive. We actually have NCR, which is now, of course, going to turn into their headquarters moving next door. There's a couple others, and there's actually one that I haven't announced yet, but I'll tell you soon.
All right, well, you got to let us know.
It's coming soon.
Okay.
So.
Well, Stephen Fleming, thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate all you do.
We have a lot of fun. We're glad to help.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me here.
Well, you can find out more about the Advanced Technology Development Center, and that's simple. Just log on to atdc.org, and you can get all the details about the upcoming Startup Showcase at atdc.org.